Hello everybody, this is John. Welcome back to the Loungers Podcast, where we're all locking arms together to try to create a better future for tomorrow. Be sure after you listen to the podcast to follow us on Twitter at Lounge with John. Also be sure to hit the follow button if you're listening to this podcast on Spreaker. Otherwise, if you're listening to this through YouTube, hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. The other night, I remember talking about something when we was doing the raising awareness for bullying. I talked about street smarts, about growing up being blind, about myself being on the street. And I said that I was going to maybe start doing some stories about things that I went through, some experiences that I had when I was younger from, me making my own mistakes, not accepting things for the way they really was. And I'd said that I was going to, share some of those stories. So that's what we're going to do. And I want you guys to let me know, though, how you like these stories. It's either going to be people like them or they don't. And I'm okay with that either way. But I thought it would be interesting for people to hear that, especially for someone that, had other things, not really problems, but, being visually impaired, let's face it. Being on the street, nowhere to go, right? That's bad enough. But to be put out there in the world and have a disability like that made it 10 times worse than what it would have been. Or than what it was, rather. So, anyways, I'm going to share the story. And I've got many other stories, so you guys got to let me know if you like these or not. The first thing is this. Being on the street and having a little vision, because I have a little bit of vision, it can be very scary. I mean, you picture this. I want you to picture this. Close your eyes, right? And picture yourself being on the street with people all around you, and you not know one single person, and you also not really being able to see that well where you're going. That's what it was for me. I remember when this happened. I got in an argument with my sister, and it was about midnight, right? I was sleeping on her couch, and all of a sudden, it was time for me to go. Not because I'd done something horrible, but just because me and her husband at the time, he just didn't want me there, right? And I thought, what am I going to do? Couldn't go to my mom's or anything like that. So I had no choice but to leave. You don't stay somewhere when, they tell you to leave, you got to leave. That's just all there is to it, right? So I ended up going to a very not so good of an area. Okay. It was downtown Louisville, Kentucky. Okay, I had to go all the way there. And that night I didn't even stay in a shelter. I stayed outside. Okay. I had got a ride because I knew that's where the shelter was. Didn't want to go down there that late at night, but I didn't have a choice. But I got a ride there, and ended up sleeping behind a giant, like a, I don't even know what it was. I think it might have been like a big central air thing, or a heating unit for like a big building. Only it was big, and it put off heat and all that, and here it is, only 40-degree weather. So it was perfect back behind it though, because it was hot, like it was actually warm behind that thing. So I ended up staying down the side of that alley behind that machine for almost 8 hours. Almost 8 hours. And the things that you hear in a city like that, at a time like that, it's pretty scary. It's pretty scary. You hear people fighting, you hear gunshots, you hear it all. And there's nothing you can do but stay where you're at, don't make no noise, and hope that some other homeless person doesn't find you and want to take your spot from you. Because that's another big thing. And you'll learn in other stories on down the road of a couple times that I ran into that situation. Now, I wasn't homeless for a long time, but for the time that I was going from door to door, couch to couch, just a lot of experiences. But anyways, I was there all night, scared, so scared, because you got all these noises, people yelling and sirens going off, footsteps going by, and literally people screaming and gunshots, all this stuff, and it's all there. It's you don't picture anything like that until you're actually involved in something like that, until you actually live it. We think for the most part, we see this stuff on the movies, right? That's just on movies. This stuff is legit. It's there. We just never see it because we don't live that life. That night I did. That year I did. Now, I wasn't homeless for a year, but I'm just saying, it was roughly, I don't know, as far as not having my own place, it's probably close to a year. But I went from place to place, but that also meant sleeping outside, and I didn't find the next place to go. Right? Very scary. Very scary. And I'm not saying, oh my gosh, I'm the blind guy, feel sorry for me because I was homeless, but I am going to tell you this. Being blind and being on the street with no one and nowhere to go, it's not a fun experience at all. I would say that I can only imagine what someone would feel like that's homeless and that they can't see. But I don't say that I would imagine now. I say that I wish they would make a better choice and get their life together and get out of that situation, because it is no life to live, my friends. It is no life to live. It is scary. It is very challenging. It's even life-changing. I'm just glad that I got my shit together. Pardon my French, kids. I'm just glad I got my stuff straight, and that I chose to accept me for who I was. I'm just glad that didn't end up being 10 years of my life or 15 years of my life. We see people out on the street, and we think that, well, they're just bums. They don't want to live any other way. That's just the way it is. Who cares? But I'm here to tell you, sometimes you get put in situations as well, and there's nothing you can do about it right away. See, I knew I was in a bad situation, but at the time there was nothing I could do about it, because you can't make things just change overnight. And for all the motivational speeches that I do, I want you guys to remember that. You can't make anything change overnight. Right? You don't go from being poor to being rich overnight unless you're lucky and you win the lottery. And if that happens, you should come and make a huge donation. I'm joking. Just joking. Don't take that seriously. I don't want the trolls to eat this up, right? But no. You can change your life, and you can do things to make your life better, but it's not an overnight thing. But that was a scary time in my life, and that was, then that night, it was that night that I knew I was in a rough situation, and I knew that I'd better get my street smarts together. I'd better learn how to get by on the street. I better learn how to talk to people. I better learn how to act around people. I better learn where to go and where not to go. I better even learn what to wear and what not to wear. Because if you're wearing the wrong color on the wrong side of town, let me tell you something. It's not a pretty picture. People might think that that's just all talk. It's not all talk. Yeah, there's a lot of gangs and stuff out there, but there's some legit gangs out there too. And I've got some stories I can share with you on that as well for another podcast if you want to hear it. I remember how people would, I do my videos and they'd say it's always, oh, John just wants people to feel sorry for him. Look, I don't ask nobody to feel sorry for me, because I've lived that life I know what it's like to be challenged in life to the ultimate challenges that life can throw at you. I know what that's like. I've been there. And if people want to hear about some of them dark moments that I've had, I'm okay with sharing them stories. And some of them are not pretty at all. Not as in I've done something horrible, but just as in the things that I witnessed, or that I heard, or that I went through. It's bad when you're walking down the street, and this is for another night, for another story, but just to give you an idea, it's bad when you're going down the street and you hear a group of people beating the crap out of somebody and there's nothing you can do about it. And I even told a police officer that same night, I told an officer something had happened. And they told me, you know what they told me? Well, make sure you keep an eye on your notifications, and I'll share that story next time. That's where I'll leave that at. But that night was when I knew that while I was going to be on the street, I'd better learn how to survive. I'll tell you one thing. Sleeping in a homeless shelter is much safer than sleeping on the street. But you know what's bad about it? Is some of them people inside the shelter are some pretty rough cats too. I got lucky. Because I managed to get along with everybody. Even the ones that were the rough ones. They got along with me, but I knew how to talk to them. I knew what to say and what not to say. You learn that stuff when you're on the street like that. You learn how to act depending on who you're around, the environment. So that's the story I got for you tonight. You guys let me know how you like me doing that little story. I even threw in some effects there to kind of help give a better picture. Let me know if you liked it. Let me know if you're ready to hear the next story. This is something new I'm doing. I actually thought of it when we was doing the Raising Awareness Sunday night. So, yeah. If you're listening to this on Spreaker, hit that follow button. YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. Let me know what you thought. I appreciate every one of you. I'm going to say welcome to our newer subscribers here in the last month or so. Thank you for joining. We're working real hard to try to reach that 1,000. It seems like it's taking forever, but you don't give up. You just got to keep going and going. We'll eventually get there. The only way we get there is because of you guys, by sharing with other people. One of you could do a share, and it could bring in 20 new people. You never know. That's why we always say share all the time. Share, share, share. Because sharing is caring, baby. But you guys have a good night. I hope you enjoyed that story. Remember, stay positive. Life is great. And if your life's not great, you can change that. You can change where you're at in your life right now. You're the answer to your own success. And I wish you the best of luck. I love every one of you. Until next time, keep it real. And we'll see.